Hello everyone. How's it going today? Back to get some more work done on this ship. I already had four videos on it getting it to this point, and today I wanted to hit the interior and get a good layout in here and maybe see how far I can get with it. Um, as it was left off, there was room left for a future shield generator over here. I have three farm plots installed. Well, 27 actually. And I'm actually looking over here, and there could be another group of 9 probably out in this section too. So that may or may not happen. But to start with, I think first thing I wanted to think about is constructors in storage on the interior here. And let me get some parts. So now on this particular ship, I do not believe I'm going to run an ammo controller. Instead, you have the option to use ammo boxes, traditional style, and it doesn't have a lot of guns on it, and it's not going to need a huge amount of space at all for ammo. So I think standard ammo boxes would be a better plan on this build. Now, just to keep in mind on HVs and SVs, though, I don't believe that's an option. You have to run a controller or ammo controller to have any ammo on one of those ships. Which then I realized that, well, if you have any guns, even if the guns are level 5 or like Gatling guns, to shoot any projectiles out of those guns, you got to put in a controller system, which is going to require a bit of cobalt and a minimum of player level 7. I don't know if that was intentional or not. Because it appears that at this point you can't actually have like a level 3 or level 5 S or HV that can shoot anything. Well, anyway, so what I'm thinking, looking at the layout here, and I want to use as much space as I can for storage. I'd like to see how much we can get in here. And my target right now is only one 320K ammo controller. And what I'm thinking about doing is actually having the controller sitting over here somewhere on this front wall, and then try to fill in this area around the warp core with the boxes and the storage that it needs, which I think would be a nice place to do it, since there needs to be a wall around this anyway. So I'm going to start way back in the front here and start placing these things, and we'll get in a subtle roll to start with. Now, if you keep them, I like to shape this stuff, but if they stay in full box form, they have the most amount of storage in each block that you use. So I'm going to try to keep as many as I can, if not all of them, full in this case. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of filling in the areas here for now and making sure they all touch. And then here, actually, I'm going to swap out that one, and how about this one? And right over here, let's put in a controller. And let's see, what does that give us? It's 240K storage out of that. So I want more than that. So where can I put more storage? Well, let's see what blocks are doing what in places here. So it looks like this is a regular steel block here. So yeah, just keep those full too, I guess. So what does this put us at? 264. Well, I got to keep that open, but I could also wrap some more in here. Almost there. I think of like 2 or 3 more of these boxes and we'll have it. one more. One more. Alright, so yeah, anywhere over here actually works too. So you know what? I'm going to take out those two and put them here. And add one more. No, I'm going to take out that one too. Maybe I took out too many. Okay, 312 needs one more yet. Alright. Where are you going to go? I'm trying to keep this area open. Any more room? Doesn't really look like it. Okay, we'll just put one here then. Alright, so 320K. It's kind of neat too, it's indented just a little bit above the lip, which is, I don't know, probably do something with this wall of blocks here and make that a little roundy or something. Alright, so that's a good spot for that. So let's go to the next thing. Constructors. Now this is a starter ship. So there's large constructors and then there's advanced constructors. But what's nice this day and time is you can simply upgrade one to the other. Now I could technically do the advanced constructors since it needs to be, it's going to be a level 10 ship anyway. I'll just have to review to see what kind of resources that takes. And where are we at now on what kind of resources? So it is already using quite a lot of cobalt, and that's unavoidable with the CV. I think most of that's with the thrusters. I'm using standard RCS and not the advanced, so it's not using anything more rare than that. Oh, it's still a pretty low build time for a CV. Okay, so constructors. Where would be a nice spot to dump a couple constructors, and it cannot interfere with this cutout over here. I think if a couple things got moved around, I'd like to leave a wall here and then have a constructor like laying here and a constructor laying one more space over that way, ideally. So I think the core is going to have to get moved out of here for now again. I'm still thinking about a good place to dump the core. I don't want it on the front of the ship. Thinking the better plan would be to embed it somewhere in the back of the ship, on one of the sides. So for now, I think just a temporary home. This could change again. Usually placing a core is one of the last things I end up doing. See where I got room available, see where it's it'd be a little harder to hit. Kind of embedded behind a couple blocks over here. We'll see if it stays there or not though. Okay, so now this part here, I would like to move at least one block back if possible. And I think I don't know if it is or not. Let's get rid of this block and see what happens. Yes, it is. Awesome. Okay, so need another. I'll just go with the one large generator. I think was enough for this build. And we'll put that there. And there's a little bit of room over here too, and there's something that I don't believe has been added yet is in the oxygen tanks. So that'd be a nice spot to at least dump one. Alright. So which direction do I want to place these things at? I think this side here, my favorite side right now. It's changed a lot over time and changes quite a bit still. Okay, so we got our two constructors. We have a room for a shield. And you know what? These can actually, no, we want to keep them there. Actually have a little more room than we need for a shield. So there is space behind here yet for some more potential parts. I could definitely use some more O2 tanks. And no doubt, with the small size of this ship, it's going to be pretty packed up front here. And is there anything we could put in that only takes one block space? Say a couple things. Don't need any RCS, which would be a great choice, but we're going to want some Wi-Fi. Okay, so now two other larger components I'm thinking about are the gravity generator, which is absolutely needed, and then I would like to leave a home for offline protection as well. So kind of what I'm looking at is that this is too high over here, or could be the right amount of space, or a little bit on each side, or dump it into the ground over here on each side. Currently the core is on the one side, but you know, I think I kind of like that idea. I want to keep the player away from all this stuff too. It's pretty hot, and I don't particularly like how these thrusters are right here and not on the bottom or the top. But cosmetically, I really don't want to move them to make it work that way either. So we'll find something else there. But alright, tell you what, let's get a gravity generator, which is going to come with the ship. And let's just put that here for now. And I'm thinking the other side over here would be a great place for offline protection, or a spot to be left open for that. Alright, so other things that we're going to want in the interior, of course, cooking station, fridges, medical station, oxygen dispenser, and probably an armor locker. Maybe leave a home for armor repair. We're going to need a warp or a pentaxid tank. So yeah, when I do this, I always try to lay out all the parts first, and then once I figure out like a good layout, then I'll go through and change blocks around and try to make it as pretty as possible in that area. Again, very tight space though, but I think this is working out. I think we're going to have enough room to get all of these critical things in here. So rather than bringing these forward, I could actually get O2 and med probably right along this side wall here. Not sure which way I want to do them yet. You know how that med station looks. It kind of looks like it should be on a corner anyway. Don't like the rotation on that though. Is there any way that would look best? Alright, and you know, this would be a great spot to also add one of these. I'm trying to leave a little gap here. Not sure if it's going to stay or not. A nice access place so you can walk in there and easily place a shield. so now next part, where would the cooking and all that go? I could easily dump some parts up here, but I do like to have everything tight and close. Every time you cook something, if you're in the hangar getting ready to do stuff, I would like at least a fridge and cooking station down here as well. Maybe in this case, since we're really going for space, that this could maybe get added in right on the sides over here. And let's see here. Armor locker. I think there's a reason that I don't like to run repairs stations on regular or starter SVs. I think there's some resource that they require that kind of holds me from having those in typically. Now, on a lot of ships too, what I like to do, and because you know I'm a more of a first-person player and a little old school, kind of like to run around and carry stuff and have the option at least to put fuel and air into the ship manually. I know it doesn't really work that way so much anymore, but something I do think about is potential of like adding like a very small air tank, very small fuel tank for quick access. When you're crafting, say you just made a bunch of this, you can just dump it into one thing. Then again, like I said, I don't know if those mechanics are really worthwhile anymore. Oh, ammo boxes, yes, yes. So we got a fuel tank. I thought there was a tiny little air tank for CVs as well. Yeah. Amazing how quickly you fill up your inventory with parts. So, where would be a nice spot for all this stuff? Could try to like put the ammo box up here. And sort of out of the way. And but what about fuel and air? Okay, can't touch those bottom blocks there. Or maybe I'll just leave that option out on this one. Kind of wasteful. And of course a repair station. At least a future home for it. And where would be a good spot for that? Well, you know, let's start putting a facing on this area and see if notice any more good locations for adding stuff at that point. Alright, I don't want just plain old blocks here. And I probably should put a door here so you can get to the area to put in the shield. Which I do plan on having the top of it covered up. Alright. And this actually leaves a nice spot here to either put a door and make it airtight or do that on the top side here. Something I am kind of thinking about though is making these two cargo boxes or controller extensions, not so square on the corner, which will reduce how much is in there, but I might have to add one more somewhere else then. So what does that do for us? Yeah, it just brings it a little bit below 320 now because these two are curved. However, that piece here could be swapped and put in with one of these instead, and I think we'll balance out. Yep, back to 320. Alright, so another thing I have typically done, I don't know how well it's going to work out on this particular build, but I don't know what it is. I've never really liked to see like the constructors just laying there. I've always tried to build some kind of housing for them to make it look prettier, and I don't want to break my tradition on that, so I'm going to do that again. We're just going to do all this interior stuff with substrate. It's cheap. It has less hit points than steel, but I don't know. We don't want this to use a ton of steel if we can avoid it. Do I want to use the angles? Or do I want to square it? Actually, in this case, I almost like that better. Might have to turn that med bay a little bit too. I wouldn't mind having this wall come out all the way. Or so I think that should have been a full. I don't know. Guess that's all right. Then of course I rounded this off here, and now I'm like, hey, it would look kind of cool if it wasn't round now. Just simply went through and added like a line across the top here. Nah, you know, it really doesn't need that. How about it just does something like that? That's kind of neat. There is little pockets of room all over the place over here. Maybe I will go back with the idea of adding in like a little fuel tank and O2 tank on the side here. So we got ammo on that side. Maybe on this side we'll do the other stuff. Just got to figure out what side of this is going to look the best and most noticeable. So that kind of look, that says F on it, and I like that. So a little fuel tank and a little O2 tank. And we'll just fill that corner in, I think. Okay, so that still doesn't leave a spot for a repair, armor repair. And a quick walkthrough. Is there any other components that we'd want on the interior? I have thought about adding in maybe a couple of these new small constructors too. They're pretty cheap. Only if there's room though. That's kind of an afterthought. There's 2 advanced constructors in here which you would primarily use, I think. The others probably maybe to process or build a lot of simple stuff. So these are really small. It's kind of nice. Think about that later. Okay, so the front edge of the farm, I think, is the next area that needs to be looked at. And these full blocks here, I think I want to find a fancier block to put there. But one that's has a full surface on the top side. And I'm not sure. You know what? Due to I'm always worried about size class on this one, rather than going round, I think we'll just go with a simpler shape that won't use as much size class. Ooh, but I don't like how that lines up on this angle. Okay, so not that block. Oops. How about this block instead? Okay, so the ceiling kind of extends to there. That's where the lip is. So if we did a really thin wall here, God, should I use the old glass? I was thinking about, some glass up here so you can kind of look down when you're up in the farm area and kind of have an overlook of your hangar. Something I typically do because there's usually it's easy to do, and you got to build a wall there anyway. And I'm doing the wall so there is separation of oxygen from the hangar area to the farm. Now all this will be one room up here due to its small size, but I do like to have separate oxygen in case this relatively weak hangar door gets blown out or something like that. You still have a area in the ship that isn't messed up, I guess you could say. Okay, so for now, actually, put in a couple of those, and wow, that's pretty tall there too. What could we do on the top of it? Let's go flat roll all the way across for now. Oh, I'm thinking oh, you know what? For fancy sakes, there's a couple new blocks that I really do like. One of them is this double ramp, or whatever it called it. This is all cosmetic stuff, but what would be neat here is I could keep on running these blocks up along the wall here and make like a little, I don't know, roundy line going around the hangar. And maybe once it gets to this area, bring that out and have like a nice angle over here. I think. Oh no, I think I'm wrong. Does that need to be there? Oh, something needs to be there, but not necessarily a full block. Perfect. Okay, so trying to keep this angle pretty. So we go one more here, and then we twist that out to this one, and then to that one. Wait a minute. We want to keep that steel because now we're dealing with exterior. And yeah, another one there. And that there. Okay, so now we've got this nice smooth line that's going all the way across so far. Do the same thing over here. Oops. Oh, I totally did that wrong. Okay. Yeah, so that's really cheap what was put in here, and I think that adds a little bit of looks there too, especially on the rounded front corners. All right. Oops. Now I'm just trying to figure out a good spot for windows. And I do want to investigate, well, you know, the new windows are going to be too thick, and I know they cost more too versus the non-armored standard windows. So I guess I'm not even going to look. Man, I got all kinds of crap in my inventory. This happens a lot where I'm always filling this area up. It's amazing how much junk I get built up in a build. We're going to run the windows on the outer edge here, so we got a full walkway on the inside of the farm. Let's say we got 2 on each, and then maybe, God, do we want that full glass or break it up with some other stuff? I think I'm going to break it up. About a couple more of these and a couple more of these little trim pieces. Might as well just put one in the center too. Alright. It's getting a whole lot more refined. Alright, so maybe it's time to put a ceiling of some kind over this. I know I'm not going to like having a little ceiling there, but you know, the use of being able to get in a 3x3 shield generator on a tiny little ship like this, I think would be pretty nice. The shields, from what I've seen so far, seem to be very effective. I was able to, in testing the Persis, I brought it into a survival game and parked it next to, I don't know, mid-level POI. I didn't even have any ammo in my ship. I just parked it right next to it so the guns could shoot it, and I let it happen for 2 or 3 minutes, and literally it brought the shield down to 98% out of 100, and that is, and it took no damage at all, so I was just like, wow, that's darn near invincible. So a little ship like this, even though it's steel hulled and everything, with a shield generator, and if that shield generator is powered up, I think it could probably handle a fair amount of abuse. Of course, all that stuff might get rebalanced as time goes on. It probably will. Trying to think of a way to do this that wouldn't be too ugly. something in the middle there to be cool. I think we actually don't need these blocks then. And you know what? There are some other pretty cool new blocks, but will any of these work for this? There's this here, but I think that's the opposite. Basically, my idea was, could I bevel this floor out nicer here and keep the top sealed? But actually, I don't think I can, because there's this, and then if you get into the this group here, then you've got this, but that won't cover the whole thing. So, okay, I think that's how it's going to have to be. And just for a little decoration, we'll put in a piece of glass. Ooh. That kind of sinks down a little too far. Yeah, never mind on the glass. Alright, so what I'm thinking about doing is I got to seal one of the two sides of the elevator so I can separate those rooms. Either seal this side or the bottom area here, or the top area. And I'm thinking it would be maybe easier if I sealed the bottom area. Less resources needed for that. The only side effect is I won't be able to get in a little LCD to tell you that up is the bridge in the farm. But you know, honestly, do you really need it on a ship this small? I doubt it. So yeah, I'll just stick one of those there. And below here, we can put in a door. And again, going with the cheap doors on the interior. And because it's a starter vessel, and I'm going to go with the vertical opening door too, so you don't see it open. Yeah, we'll hide in that area. Alright, so I think that's a good chunk of the interior main design. See what we can do with this area here. Just want to see what something would look like here real quick. Now, nice and smooth. I'm not a fan of doing what I'm doing here with this, like, half, this floor built up a little bit, but yeah, I think it'll work out pretty good. Alright, so what blocks are needed on the sides here? That one? Excuse me. Alright, so now let's make a nice little edge over here, following the sides of the ship. sure what else would go there anyway. Or switch it up on these corners here. And I get this this new ramp B with a little bit of a side on it. Yeah, we got that little break up there, which kind of looks like I don't mind that. I don't mind that little seam there. Could smooth that out, but now it kind of backs away, so it's not like crossing over this round area here. Kind of looks like it would work. Alright, so on the sides of the elevator, didn't actually need those blocks, not anymore. But I kind of want to keep the sides covered anyway. But with what this time? We get creative on this here. We already got that raised floor on the one side. So I could use something like that. And maybe have a little bit of a bevel on the top side of it. I think that works out pretty good. On these sides here, there are some really tiny little trim pieces that I kind of like this here. Could look pretty neat on the corners. Of course, I probably ought to check size class too. Adding in all this little detail stuff is not ramping the cost of the ship up much at all, but it will affect the size class. Alright, and also the top, the ceiling up here. I guess, I don't know. How much room is there actually? Not really much of anything. Basically, I was just thinking, should I cut into the ceiling here to try to make some more kinds of, like what's going on over here. I'm just trying to see if that's feasible or not. I guess it partially is. I don't know if that would do much in looks at all. Just see what happens if I try something small. Oops, darn it. I hate blowing away blocks, especially ones like that. Might as well fix it. No, that wasn't you. That was one of you kind. No, it wasn't you. so we want steel on the front two at least. That's just my general rule. If it touches the exterior, even though it's not fully touching because there's kind of technically another block there, but I always use hull material for that. That steel too. Oops. Do I want to do what I'm doing? Yeah, guess I keep it. A little something. And let's see. Oh, I can mess with these blocks here too. Cool. Be a bit wasteful, but kind of need to just keep the angle flowing here. Alright. So no doors required here. That's covered up, but kind of ugly. You know what? Let's just get rid of some of this again. Alright, so the back wall. Back wall is very basic, but I think it should work out alright. Alright. So that covers most of the front area for now. And let's see, and then we got this whole back area here. And I don't really want you to be in this range over here at all. But I don't want to take away room for, you know, hangar room at all either. Think of something kind of Art Deco-ish, like some kind of line that came here and curved down. That starts there too. Huh. I'm wondering, is there one of these with one of these edges on both sides? I thought there was, but I could be mistaken on that. I guess not. Well, okay, let's try this. Yeah. Never mind. Oh, you know what? I could use back here are some traditional cargo boxes. Kind of nice to have some of those around too. Yeah, actually, I think that would be a good thing to put back here. Fill up some space. God, there's a lot of these to pick from now too. A lot of them look really, really nice. And I happen to like this one due to its capacity. And I'm not worried about CPU on this build at all. But how much heat would you get if you were... Let's just try this a minute. Okay, so thrusters are on. Just going to do a little walkthrough and take a good close eye on the temperatures to see. Yeah, see right in the corner here we're spiking to 200 degrees Celsius. So that's not cool there. Yeah, also gravity generators seem to raise the temperature some and some radiation. And as we get close to here, since there's more embedded thrusters, that's hot too. And we're spiking here too. Well, what in the heck is there? Oh yeah, there's a thruster there. I see. Okay. Any more areas? Of course, it'll be hot here then too. Yep. All right. That area. This area should be nice and cool. And easy way to get into here. That's away from you. Oh, look at that. We're at 40. Oh, gosh darn it. 45 degrees C here. And 4 radiation. From what? I know we have a gravity generator, but that was tested. It's a rollback. I don't even know. What is the deal there? Sure, we just did a walkthrough on that the other day and determined that one block was enough to keep the warp core safe. Unless I'm missing something else. Just honestly, I don't know what's doing it here. That sucks. This is like your main pass-through hallway, and I do not want to give you radiation every time you walk through here. But I don't know what's causing it. It's got to be the warp core. Hold on. When you get close to it, yeah, it spikes badly. From here, oh, I'm really confused now. Because, okay, so I'm at the same distance over here as I am there on the warp core, but here I'm at 22 degrees normal. But here, I'm warmer with radiation. What am I missing here? I mean, literally nothing. I'm not missing anything. There's no parts there. Well, that sucks. I don't even know what to do about this. Seriously. One of these parts? Is it the tank? Oh, it's the tank. Since when did since when does that kill you? Well, son of a gun. Okay, well, I'm glad it's not the warp core, but it kind of sucks that the tank hurts you too. I mean, you literally got to put stuff in it. Okay, just a quick test again. Yeah, okay, we're cool now. Did that change? I don't recall ever seeing the warp core tank harm you with radiation before. Well, regardless, I'll have to find a new home for that. Somewhere. Ooh, I just did nasty there. Yeah, that's what I get. You know, I was trying to, God, I got a funky block in there too, don't I? No, not really. Alright. Anyway, this is the first step of, well, this is the bulk of doing the interior. The rest of it is just texturing it, which isn't so bad, but this part here, the layout takes a while usually. I think that matches both sides now. Okay. Alright. And almost done with the layout, except a new home for the warp tank somewhere. I know this area is nasty anyway, and that hurts you as well. And there's radiation in the corner. That makes it rough. I don't want to like waste usable space, but I also don't want you to get harmed walking around the ship. So we're going to have to make some changes. And okay, so that, you know, that this thing's going to hurt you anyway, and you got to have it visible. I mean, you can't hide this behind a wall. No idea why you'd have like something that you actually walk up and put stuff in that would hurt you. Okay, so I'm getting the warp tank radiation and heat, but I think that is shielding it from the thruster heat, which is worse. So maybe that's where it'll end up. And on the flip side over here, maybe a good location for the armor repair. Now, one last thing I haven't popped in here yet too is these guys, ventilators. Free up some inventory space again. Oh yeah, and then those little constructors too. That's right. Trying to look for, you know, parts and stuff I can fill up the space with and make it like everything's supposed to be there. And you know, that'd be kind of a neat idea. I hate this big wasted area behind the thrusters though. Kind of looking at what could be put there. How much fuel tanks and O2 tanks does this have? We got 5 O2 tanks, 5 fuel tanks. We're at 131. I'm feeling confident. Lights and switches yet need to be going to place, and a couple LCDs. But it's possible to keep this size class 1. Alright. Tell you what, let's make it even number on both fuel and air at 6. Already have it. I'm lost. Where's all my stuff? Alright. Let's say we bury a fuel tank down there. And oh, I don't know. Do I want to put an air tank right behind rear thrusters? Probably not. Does it even need another air tank? Probably not. Well, due to space, might as well. And we'll just fill this in. How about a couple steel blocks here? Okay, and then last, I got to keep you away from the gravity generator too. So how's a good way to do that? You know, in this case, I don't want to build up more walls. I think I'm just going to go for some railing. Oh, wait a minute. Ah, you know, I don't know how awesome it will look or anything, but I could get in a couple of these. Yeah, let's try that. And then maybe a bevel here. And nice place for a ventilator. heck of it. Just going to do a mass texture replace on the carbon substrate for now. Well, okay. Very much well on its way now. Probably ought to chill out on this video here. It's probably getting pretty long. Didn't quite get it all done. But, yeah, most of it. It shouldn't take too much longer to get the rest of the stuff finished up. Might bulk up this so we got a nice place for a core. I'm thinking about room for the offline protection yet, and I think that's the last component that I really wanted to add to the ship for any purposes, actually. And then the rest is just kind of texturing this up. Might do a little something over here too, a little bevel or something. But, well, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this. I know it's a lot of messing around and plotting and figuring stuff out, but that's how interiors are. That's why they take so long. Larger ships with more complicated space takes even longer. Just so much planning and tweaking. And even now, I'll probably, you know, when finally detailing this, which will be on the next tutorial on this, I'll probably end up making little subtle changes here and there, maybe fitting some things in. But the last part's kind of neat. It'll be texturing, and then I want to put in some nice lighting in here, and the sensors to control all the stuff, and of course a couple LCDs. This doesn't need much. It doesn't have a lot going on for it, but just to take a look at some specs. Yeah, CPU we're well below. I do believe this ship could possess a second 320K cargo setup as well, and it might have enough. It's pushing it. It would be tight, but it's got decent lift thrust. But I don't want to push it. You know, it's a starter ship, and it's at where it's at. I think it will remain size class 1, so it'll actually be the first size class 1 CV I ever made. But I think, you know, for being a size class 1, it's got, man, I could park some pretty big ships on here, or several on the top, SVs, and then it's got a pretty good size hangar too. So I can easily get like the Demos tank in, which I kind of use that as a standard. That is a 5x9 door tank, and that will fit in most anything I build. And this included, which is cool. I do not like to go smaller than that though. So hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I plan on getting another one on this tomorrow. So I'd actually like to finish up the interior because this thing is getting very close to being done now. All right. Have a good day, y'all. Thanks again.